Thank you, Dave, as always. Appreciate the content there. As Dave showed, organizations that use professional services automation tools actually perform better than those who don't. So let's take a quick look here at an innovative solution that Microsoft offers called Dynamics 365 PSA, which is an end-to-end project and resource management tool designed to really meet the needs of constituents across your firm's entire value chain, from practice directors to sales and account management personnel to the project delivery team and ultimately to the end customer. Dynamics 365 PSA supports the entire life cycle of a project, sales opportunities, the integration to CRM as Dave described, planning projects, finding and scheduling best fit resources, collaborating with both internal and external teams throughout the sales and delivery process, tracking time and expenses, managing key billing and back office functions, and of course measuring and improving project success through real-time analytics. And one aspect of Dynamics 365 PSA that makes it unique relative to other PSA solutions in the market is that it's built on the Microsoft Cloud and productivity stack. So it's deeply integrated into tools like Outlook, SharePoint, Yammer, Skype for Business, Microsoft Office, which really drives productivity and collaboration and knowledge management across your firm. So tying back to Dave's message around key elements that drive service delivery excellence, let's go ahead and jump into Dynamics 365 PSA to take a brief look at some of the features that can help us do things like drive a standardized methodology using project plans and templates, achieve on-time delivery through tracking project schedules and task completion, completing projects on budget by having better visibility of budgets and actuals and our estimates to complete, and making sure that we have the right resources with the right skills available in the right time and place to successfully deliver our services. So with that, we're going to transition to Sean Skyver on our team for a brief demonstration of some of these tools within Dynamics 365 PSA. So Sean, I'm going to pass controls over to you.
Okay, great. Can you see my screen okay, Andy?
Yes, we can.
All right, excellent. So we're just going to take a brief tour through the Dynamics 365 PSA area. And in this case here, you can see when we first open up the screen, we have a lot of dashboard functionality where you can have information, that real-time, up-to-date information around whether you're a practice manager, project manager, really that graphical representation of the data. And building off some of the things mentioned earlier, the first thing I just want to talk a little bit about is the resourcing. And we have a lot of views available. One common one is always that resource utilization. So having the real-time and live information that's, of course, working off all of the time entry and time that's entered in, and being able to come in and be able to see views where you can see your resource utilization. And when we do that here, when we come into that resource view, it gives you that quick visualization of the past, so we can quickly see where are we hitting with our target. So the green is, well, in some case good. Of course, this person here was over 125% utilized, but it gives that quick visual of where are we at. And while that's a great view, unfortunately that's the past, and we can't change the past. But probably even the more interesting view is more of the outlook and going into the future. And for that, there's the integrated resource scheduling and being able to have visibility to all of your work across all of your different people. So there is a full visual board that will show your resources, and I'm not going to go through all of the various areas of it just because in this short time. But just bear in mind, it is a schedule board where you are able to do certain filters. So obviously, if I use subcontract labor, I may want to focus initially on my employees, my internal staff. So maybe I remove my outside people from my resource board. So you have a lot of filter capabilities, a lot of abilities to be able to find people based on certain skills. Maybe certain projects require that. That's all tied back into the HCM or the human capital management functionality. So all of that's tied together and driving the resource and the schedule board. When you come into a board like this, though, and probably one of the more interesting views is being able to look out into that future. And here we can see this particular individual who is a developer, and just hovering over that person's name, we get a quick look into what roles or what does he typically, in this case, he's a developer, but also what are the skill sets that this person has. So you get a quick visual of what the skill sets are. As Andy mentioned, you have a lot of access where you can go directly into Skype or Skype Business, chatting with them, calling them directly, or launching an email, all of that right from that schedule board. In this case, we see that in the time frame and going out into July, we're looking at this person is about 93% projected to be utilized, which is pretty, well, that's really good actually, and we feel pretty good about that person. As we go up and we see in the board, we get quick visuals of people that are overbooked. So you have a quick visualization in reds where we see this person's overbooked. And then if you drill down into the work that's actually being maintained, you can drill down and see what are the specific projects that they're working on. And in this area, I think it's really important, and you know, we heard it mentioned around that tie-in to sales. So in this area here, if you look at the color coding, we see that's a soft booked resource. So that's potentially a project where it's in the opportunity stage right now, and it's not actually been signed off on, but we did some quick soft booking and that we can convert to a hard book. So there's various stages of how you can manage your bookings, and if you have that integrated opportunity and CRM back into the PSA, it gives you that ability to get the visual and be able to get a broader picture linked back into sales. So there's a lot of visibility there. Another interesting view, and this is really more so around the inherent workflow in the PSA solutions. So this is actually a proposed resource. So in this case, this would be an organization that does centralized resourcing. So as a project manager, I'm putting in my requests. I need these certain people or these people with these certain skills. I have different priorities that I put on it, and I'm sending them off to a centralized scheduling area. And then we have a whole workflow going back where, okay, so we were looking for this, I propose this person, and you give the people the ability to be able to make decisions of, yeah, that person should fit, but that's all workflow managed through the PSA solution. So here you get a quick view of this Dawn Phelps has been proposed as a potential person for this project. So having that view and being able to look out into the future, again, it's all date controlled, so you can look by weeks, by months, the time periods, and being able to see that projected utilization. So we see this as a view that people live in, really being able to get that what's in progress and what's in the future. Now, once we get work and we have work assigned, you know, we find that in, you know, most times that people then will go and send out an email to an individual saying you've been assigned to project X, and there's a lot of back and forth and a lot of manual things that are happening there. One of the keys with PSA, and Andy mentioned, was how it's all tied back into Microsoft Office. So this is actually a PSA view where I see my bookings and tasks, and from a resource, so I'm a team member here, and I see my bookings in a calendar view, which is great, but I have to come into PSA to see it. So one of the automatic integrations that's available between the Microsoft solutions is being able to see your calendar view of those tasks and have that be updated automatically. So this is the same view, though, where I'm typically living, which is in Microsoft Outlook, and these are tasks that were assigned to me through the PSA system. So this is some natural integration that occurs. There's tons of other integration, especially when you get into the opportunity tracking, and you have emails that are going back and forth. And some other really important integrations are this whole Microsoft Groups, where you can have a team assigned through PSA, but then all documentation, calendars, emails they can all be shared through a office group. So instead of having people say, can you send me this email or can you do this, you have a one spot where they can go and be able to see that shared information. So we've seen this is where Microsoft, they've really grown their solutions and how they have the 365 solution, the Dynamics products, really talking and integrating back with Outlook and Excel and Word. So that's just a little quick flavor here. And of course there's time entry, and that's all going to be done. And there's a mobility solutions that are available for that as well, where you want to be able to do your time and expenses through the mobile solution. So that's a little bit about the resources. And just quickly, just bear in mind here of time, a couple other things I just wanted to point out. And when we talked and it was talked about project overruns and being able to track projects, if I come back over and I look up my projects view, and there's a lot of views that can be saved, and you can quickly come back. So these are active projects that I've filtered out and that I'm monitoring. And just in this grid sheet alone, there is just tons of valuable information that's jumping out at me here, as far as being able to see what was my estimated finish date, but then what were my estimated hours, what are my actual hours, so what is my progress against. I have some that are, and this is a demo database, so there's some that are really scary from a project, and in specific this would be this one where we estimated 1949 and we're at actual of 10,320. Let's hope that we never get to that point where we would be doing that in a real environment where we have that type of overrun. But here we get the visibility to where we see what was those estimated costs and the actual, and then what was our cost consumption of. If we want to drill down into some specifics, and here we'll look up this particular project, and when we get into the specifics, and as we talked about earlier, if you are using the sales components, one of the really neat little navigation areas here is that I can quickly get back to what the original opportunity was. So all I have to do is click on this bar and it'll bring me back to what was the original opportunity that sold, and then what was the original quote that actually generated the project. So you have quick navigation where you can get back to the history information, and then if we're back now into the planning and delivery stage of the project, now I can start to get into the details of what am I doing. So if I come in and do the drop down, one of the key areas is management of your work breakdown structure. So in this project, if I open up, now I should get a message that pops up that's going to warn me, and that in this particular project I can't edit it because it's a setting I turned on where I'm actually linking it into Microsoft Project. So there's out-of-the-box integration from Microsoft into Microsoft Project where this is more of a viewing, but any of the manipulation of the timeline, so for those people that are more familiar and comfortable working in Microsoft Project, there's that out-of-the-box integration. But I wanted to come into this view also just to give a quick view where we can see where we're at, and this is actually actual, so the greenish here is actually where it's showing me actuals posted against that task. So you do have that updating as information is being updated against, and being able to track where you're at with respect to that task. So this is some of the work breakdown structure capability, and the other, and without having, because of course to know where you're at and whether or not you have overrun, you need to have what your estimates were. So here you also have views available that can be based by sales amount, cost, and also by time, to where, or I'm sorry, by effort, to where you get some quick visuals for where, and spaced out into the various time frames from how does this project lay out in more of a forecasted mode into the future. So those are some of the key things from a project, and some of the key areas from the PSA. Again, there's many other areas around workflow and resourcing. Touched a little bit on that in the beginning, but these are really some of the key things and principles that are supporting what was talked about up to this point. So, Andy, I think at this point I'll turn it back over to you, and because if I go any too deeper, I might end up going too deep, and we'll go out of time. So.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Sean. I'm going to go ahead and take control back here. So hopefully that gives a few examples of how, again, a PSA solution can help us to take measurable steps to optimize our service delivery and move towards one of those highly optimized firms within the SPI research maturity model.